You're listening to the podcast My Story, My Song with host Nathan Maack. On today's episode, you'll hear Nathan tell you another compelling story about the writer of the song and what inspired the song to be written. You'll also hear a great arrangement of the song by Nathan or one of his friends. And now, let's go to Nathan Maack for today's story.
One of my favorite hymns to sing when I was growing up was the song When the Roll is Called Up Yonder. As a child, I was drawn to the upbeat rhythm and syncopated harmonies, but as I've grown older, the lyrics to this great classic of the church have become much more important and relevant to me. Both the lyrics and melody were written in 1893 by James Milton Black. In his early 20s, Mr. Black moved to the small town of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. While living in Williamsport, he worked with the Methodist Episcopal Church and was influential in editing hymnals. One day, while walking by an alley, he noticed a poor and sad-looking girl sitting up against the hard brick wall of the building on one side. He began to speak with her and discovered that she was only 14 years old. Sadly, her father was an alcoholic. Mr. Black invited her to his church and the youth group that he worked with. With little hesitation, she accepted the invitation and began to regularly attend each Sunday. However, one Sunday, as James was taking roll of the youth in attendance, he found out that this girl was not in the room. So, after church, he went to her home to see why she wasn't at church. He found out that she had become very sick, and he called for a doctor to visit. After examining her, the physician ruled her illness to be pneumonia, and he pronounced that she would probably not live long. Well, Mr. Black went home from this discouraging news and began thinking about the roll call he took, and that a child was missing from it. His mind became haunted with the thought of someone not being present at the roll call of Jesus, as he reads the names of each individual in the book of life, and how much better it will be for those who have become followers of Christ. With that thought in mind, he started looking for a hymn that conveyed that glorious thought, but could not find one. Something stirred inside him as he thought about the question, why don't you write one? Which, of course, is what he did. Within 15 minutes, 3 verses had been written in full. James Black went to the piano with what would become one of the most popular hymns in the Christian church and began to play a melody. Here's what happened in his own words. I played the music just as it is found in the hymn books, note for note, and I have never dared to change a single word or note of that song. Sadly, the girl who inspired this timeless song died a few days later. Although difficult, Mr. Black was able to explain at the funeral the story of how this song was inspired by a brave 14-year-old girl, and that when the ultimate roll is called up yonder, her name will be read, and she will be in attendance with all those who have given their hearts and lives to Jesus. Today, the lyrics have been translated into at least 14 languages and have been sung all around the world. There are more than 500 recordings of it listed on Amazon alone, sung by choirs, Christian artists, and country artists. When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more, and the morning breaks, eternal, bright and fair, when the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. Here's an arrangement I play of this wonderful hymn, When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, I'll Be There.
for listening to today's episode of My Story, My Song with host Nathan Maack. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast on the app you use to hear all of the latest stories and music. And check out Nathan's website at www.nathanmaack.com to keep up with all of Nathan's music ministries, including other web shows, his email newsletter, tour schedule, and much more. Until next time, thank you again for listening to My Story, My Song.